Welcome on in, guys, to the StreamYard Studios. Once again, I am Jake, and yeah, we get a chance to have a very special guest, lateesha Mohl. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. It's going to be a incredible day, and it's going to be an awesome day. So let's not go ahead and waste any time. Please help me welcome in an incredible, an amazing young fighter. Help me welcome in lateesha Mohl.
Hey, thanks for
Hey,
having me.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, to say the least. Glad to get a chance to have you on, to say the least. What have you been up to lately?
So I had my professional debut in December, my boxing debut, and I won that. So we've kind of just been trying to find the next thing coming up. We did recently announce that April 23rd in Harrisburg, we will be having professional fights again. So I will be having my second professional boxing fight on that card.
Let's go. Let us go. Congratulations, first of all. And of course, congratulations on getting your pro debut and, of course, getting the W. We'll get a chance to talk about that. But, you've been doing a lot of stuff. And by a lot of stuff, I mean, in case you guys don't know, this fighter here does jiu-jitsu, MMA, kickboxing, and, of course, boxing, to say the least. And it seems like, you had the fighter in you. And I got to ask, what inspired you to start fighting?
So actually, I never had any kind of experience in martial arts before in my life, up until the age of about 21 is I think when I started. So I played softball for about 13 years. I had a scholarship to go to college to play softball, and I turned it down and went to a technical college. And down the street, there were boxing lessons. So, I signed up just to stay in shape. I've always been an athletic kind of person. So the
Mhm.
intention was actually never to fight. It was just to be in shape and to, have fun and experience what boxing was about.
Oh yeah, to say the least. And, yeah, talking about your boxing, I mean, you pretty much told me that you are training at Capital Punishment Boxing Club. I mean, how has that camp been helping you out?
That gym is fantastic. It's, Philly has, amazing boxing gyms, but as far as in this area of Pennsylvania, central PA, it's one of the best gyms you can be at in regards to boxing and striking. We have three other professional fighters out of that gym, and they're all brothers, and two of them are twins. And they, as amateurs, were ranked the best in the country. So they're all undefeated professional boxers right now as well. So it's really cool to be in that environment with other professional boxers that, not are only highly skilled, but are undefeated and doing fantastic.
And I think with how much you've learned in your boxing style, it has helped you, to say the least, to become the fighter you are. So yet, for anyone that's an NPA, I mean, this is your chance. I mean, you can become incredible fighters just like her. I mean, she already got her pro debut out of the way and got that first W, to say the least. And outside of the boxing stuff, you are currently a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Talk about that.
Yeah, so when I first started training, actually my first fights were in MMA. I didn't fight boxing until last year actually. So my first, 7, 8 fights were all in MMA. And for the first couple, I didn't have any kind of formal jujitsu training.
Hmm.
I really only had some formal gi jujitsu training and no gi jujitsu training up, to about 3 years ago. So that's been a really fun journey. It's something that I hated at first, but now I absolutely love it. I prefer no gi, which is more beneficial for the MMA fights. But it's something I really enjoy. I love the wrestling side of it, and it's something I hope that I can compete in a little more coming up this year.
You talked about how much it has helped you, especially not only the jiu-jitsu style, but do you think that it's helped you with the MMA style, especially the fact that you're gonna end up having to do a lot of grappling when it comes to the ground game?
Yeah, so in a lot of my previous MMA fights, before I knew what jujitsu was, I would just get taken down and lose the fight on the ground because I didn't know how to defend it. Last year, I actually won an MMA fight last year in August with a TKO in the second round, and the girl I was fighting was a big jujitsu girl. So I knew her goal was to take me down. And in the first round, she did actually secure a takedown, but I got up within 20 seconds after the takedown. And you know, people think jujitsu is just being on the ground in submissions. A lot of it is defending the takedown. How do you get out from being underneath somebody? And that's what my whole camp was based on. And
Mhm.
it got me the win for that fight.
I mean, not only that, but you also got to think about this though, is that jiu-jitsu can help out in a lot of ways. I mean, you think about people who are in UFC or Bellator or whatever promotion may be, they have to go through some jiu-jitsu just for them to be able to work on the ground game, the submission game, and plus it can help you as a fighter because. I mean, we've all seen a lot of MMA fights. You can't really rely on standing up because you have to work on the
Mm-mm.
clinch, you have to work on the ground game, submissions, everything. So I really feel like that if you want to be able to start an MMA fight, go with jiu-jitsu first before you start doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jujitsu is there's so much to it. There's so much to know. There's so much to learn. Now, with MMA and with the strikes being involved with jujitsu, it does kind of change things up a little bit. It changes your jujitsu style. It's different when you're getting punched in the face.
Hmm.
So, yeah, definitely jujitsu is a good place to start for anyone that's interested in MMA. It's going to be probably the hardest thing of the sport.
Oh yeah, and I can definitely tell with how much effort, how much training that you put into it's definitely taking a toll on you for sure. But yet, talking about training and yet talking about what you're doing right now, we've all had something that inspires us to be able to get up, start training, get ready for fight week, whatever it may be. But yet, is there anything that you have that motivates you, that inspires you to continue what you're doing today?
Yeah, you're right. There are days where I'm like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do this today. I don't want to get up. But at the same time, I think it's just I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I've tried quitting before. I've tried not fighting before and it just felt so weird. It felt so empty. So it's like I know that I have to fight and if I want to win, not only if I want to win, but if I want to perform well and put on a good show, I know I have to get up and do the work. If you
Yeah,
train hard, you fight easy. So to me, it's just that motivation of getting up, putting the work in. I know if I put the work in, I'll be fine. And
yeah.
I trust in myself with that.
And I definitely think that you have taken all those obstacles and all those challenges that you have faced, and you've actually went through them like it was nothing. And I want to get a chance to ask you because a lot of fighters, out there these days struggle on the physical, the dieting, or the mental side. Is how do you handle the mental side, knowing how bad it can make an impact on you during the training, whatever it may be, and it just kind of like ruin your day.
I am so glad you asked me that. I am a 100% mental fighter. I am a mess mentally. So physically, the eating, the dieting, I have that all day long.
Yeah.
I will run as long as you want me to run. I will eat whatever you want me to eat to be healthy. That's not an issue for me. The issue for me has always been the mental side, and you can see that in my first 10 amateur fights. I mentally just didn't know how to handle that kind of pressure.
Hmm.
Um, and it caused adrenaline dumps. It caused really, really bad things during my fights. You can see it in my fights. I'm lost. Like I am not there. I don't remember half of my fights.
Hmm.
So I actually work with a sports mental coach. Her name is Anne with Great Sports Minds. She's helped me, especially last year. She's the reason I won almost all of my fights last year. Like it's insane the stuff she has me do. It's so simple and it works. I there's nothing I can do that's going to change what she does for me. There's nothing that's going to make me feel less confident as long as I do the simple things she tells me to do.
Hmm.
Mentally, I've won every fight already.
And I'm glad that you get a chance to talk about this. And I don't know if you guys watched the interview with Nolia Vasallo the other day, but you talked about how much you have had to fight through the mental side and of course the physical side. Well, I want you to look back on this interview and just remember exactly who you are and who else, everyone else watching this. But you are a warrior. You are a warrior at best because you are getting up, you are pushing through the mental, the physical, whatever it may be, and you're still with us today, and yet you're still doing incredible things. So yet, just remember exactly who you are. You are a warrior at best.
I love that. That's awesome. And that's a great picture. I love that.
I I keep this with me. I keep this on my wall because it not only reminds myself, but I can be able to help remind others just exactly who they are. Because for people who don't know, it's like the mental game is not the best. It's not the best at all because we feel like that we're trapped down with our depression, our anxiety, and we feel like we can't get back up. But yet the thing is, those don't define you for who you are. If she went through everything that she went through, then that could tell you something. We can all learn something from an incredible fighter such as yourself.
Thank you. Yeah. And if, I don't know if a lot of your followers follow me or not, but I did post from a clip from my MMA fight last year that I won.
Hmm.
After I won the fight, they let you speak, and I did say that, since 2016, I won my first amateur MMA fight. I won my first fight in 2016, and then up until August of last year, I lost 7 fights in a row in MMA. I did not win one. And then come 2021, I finally won an MMA fight. So after losing 7 times, it was 5 years since I won
Hmm.
an MMA fight, finally came back and won. Like that right there, that was like, it just proves like, it takes time. Some things take time. Some things take longer for some people. It
Right.
wasn't my time to win yet. I had to wait to win.
And the old saying is that you can't expect a win just out of nowhere. You have to be able to earn it. You went through
Oh, definitely.
potentially 5, maybe 6 years worth of waiting after your last fight until your last year. And I really think that people can say, well, if she went down 7 times, she got back up once, and she got the victory, and she got her hand raised. I really think people can admire by your story. I really think people can admire by the heart and the desire, because no matter how many times you lost, you're still going. And I really think that sets a huge example for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot easier said than done. Throughout those 5 years, I wanted to quit. I was mad, I was frustrated, I cried, I yelled, but, it's way easier said than done, but if you keep going, eventually at some point you're gonna have to go back up. You can only fall to the bottom so far until you have to go back up.
Yeah, and by the way, I think not too many people have told you this, but I do thank you for not quitting, because I
Thank you.
really think that there's so much in you. There's so much. The best is yet to come for you, because I
Oh,
can see
definitely.
how much of a heart you have. I can see how much the desire you have. You go for it. You go for it. I mean, you just mentioned. I mean, you lost 7 times, but yet you still came back up and you still got the W. So if anyone out there that watches this, it's okay to lose. It's okay, because you know why? Because the reward is coming at the end. No matter when it's going to be or how long it's going to be, something's coming.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny you said that. A friend of mine fought last night. She had a Muay Thai fight, and she performed excellently. But the commentators were saying, sometimes it's good for fighters to lose a couple fights first instead of winning all of their fights. They say, you might lose your first 2 fights, but if you go back and fight, that means you actually want to be here. You actually want to fight versus someone that wins their first 6, 7 fights. They don't know, and then when they lose, they're like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm over this." They don't know how to lose. So sometimes losing is okay. It really is a lesson, as cliche as that is. But if you can lose and go back to fighting, you're
Mhm.
gonna make it. Like you're meant for it.
Exactly, because the thing is that whenever we start growing up, we start to think losing sucks. I hate it, but at the same time, once we used to start getting involved with the MMA industry, when it comes to combat sports, you're gonna have to realize, you're gonna have to be humble when it comes to losing. You're gonna have to understand that in life we can't get what we want, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we put ourselves through. I mean, there's still a win coming. There's still a win that is meant for you. It's just like you mentioned before. It's maybe not be the right time, but it will. But at some point, right place, right time is meant for everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, losing is what I see as a necessary evil. I think everyone should have to lose a fight. It
Yeah.
sucks. The feeling sucks, but if you can get through that feeling and keep going, like you're good to go.
And not only that, but yet, it also goes to show that after each fight, whether if you win, whether if you lose, you learn something from this.
Oh,
You take
definitely.
that experience and you learn from this.
Yeah, yeah, you can learn a lot from winning too, don't get me wrong, like, my pro debut win, I won, but immediately afterwards, I'm like, "Oh, I need to fix this, this, this. I need to do this. I need to go back to the gym and work on that," you know? Yeah, you can learn a lot from winning, but if you lose and you can get through a loss, if you can mentally make it through a loss, you're mentally stronger than anyone that's won. Definitely.
And by the way, I want you to sit here and think about this, because, like I told you before at the start of the interview, you're doing jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, MMA, and pro
Mhm.
boxing. We've all had the worst times, but yet, there's always been the best of times. And yet, if you could just, talk about the best times that you're doing right now, what would it be? Do you ever just think about it, like, I mean, I remember that time where I fought this. I remember the time I did that. I mean, do you ever just look back on what you're doing right now?
Oh, definitely. I mean, my first amateur MMA win is insane. I don't remember the fight. I don't know how I won the fight. I did great. But I didn't know half the things I was doing. So
Mhm.
that's always a motivator when I started from nowhere. And then last year was my highlight year for me. Last year I was riding high the whole year. I went to I had my first amateur boxing fights last year. I had three, and then I went on to get a TK, my first TKO in MMA. I won that. Then I went on to fight twice in one day at WKA Nationals. Won my first fight, fought an hour later, lost that fight, didn't care. I thought it was awesome. And then in the same year that I had my first amateur boxing fight, I make a pro boxing debut and win that. I mean, it last year was just it was such a good time. It was I can't even, I'm still riding that high, I think.
I think what it is like, after what you're doing last year, it's like you always think about it's a dream, but yet it's not a dream. It's coming true. It's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, did this happen? Did this happen? It's like you still get chills. I mean, like, I'm getting goosebumps just when we talk about this with you, to say the least. And
Yeah.
I feel like the best is yet to come. I feel like there's so much more in store for you with this year, and you're going to continue that progress that happened last year going into this year.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And stepping into the pro ranks of boxing now, and I've been going out and sparring girls that are ranked the best in the country or girls that are already pros, and I'm thinking, oh crap, like I'm kind of getting beat up. Like I need to step my game up right now. I have a lot to work on still in boxing, and not to mention I haven't even put my foot into the pool of pro MMA and pro kickboxing. I'm trying, but I still have those journeys to experience too. So I'm hoping at least this year I can get a pro kickboxing fight. I'm yearning to kick someone in the face without a shin guard on. So hopefully this year we can continue that high from last year. And for me, the biggest thing that's going to make that happen is the mental side of it, is the mental game. I got to stick to my mental training.
I thought of a joke because you talked about how much you're ready to kick someone's face. It's like, I just can't
Hmm.
wait to show this new person how nice my pedicure is.
Exactly.
It's just like, look at my pedicure. Look at my nails. Did they do great?
I
Especially,
always I always have my toenails painted when I fight, especially MMA and kickboxing, because you never know.
and I will warn you this though, you can end up creating a lot of captions with with that picture once we have your toenails painted. To say the
Oh
least.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The
Oh.
memes the memes will come out.
Oh my! The memes will come out no matter what you do. I mean, I
Yes.
remember Wednesday when I interviewed Christine Gifford. There was a part that there was a picture that she took where it looked like I was chewing tobacco. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what? Like, I'm like, okay, Kristen, I see what you did there. But yet, also, I do want to send a shout out to a friend who won her fight this past weekend. I think I know exactly who you're talking about. I forgot her name. Was it It's off the
she
top of my.
she lost a split decision yesterday.
Okay.
Her name was Lauren Rawl. She fights out of Algeo MMA and Black Sheep Striking. She's someone I train with often, and but man, I thought she won last night. She looked so good. It was a tough fight. But yeah, she won. She lost a split decision, unfortunately. But to me, she won in my eyes. She looked fantastic.
And shout out to her because I know I think she's also been a part of the page on the Fighting Now. So yeah, shout out to her and a performance that you make, especially with speaking of performances, is that talking about this year alone is what type of performance do you want to have? No matter if it's the boxing or if it's the kickboxing, whatever it is, what type of performance do you want people to expect to see from you?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to be boring. I want to be entertaining. The reason people watch fighting is because it's entertaining. That's the reason they're watching it. So I don't want to be a boring fighter. I want to be active. I want to try some new things because as an amateur, you can't do certain things. So, as a pro now, especially in MMA and kickboxing, I want to kind of, show off my skill set a little more, definitely. I People think I'm pretty cut and dry, and I am for the most part, but I have the opportunity now to expand that skill set, so I definitely want to show that off.
Well, I don't think you're pretty much like you're boring to say the least because where we got a chance to talk and everything. And speaking of that, you guys get a chance to follow her at Tisha Squeeza underscore MMA on Instagram. Hopefully, I typed that correctly.
You
Um,
did.
okay, make sure because I don't want to botch it to say the least. And before we get to your boxing to your pro boxing bout, you did have some questions on Instagram, and
Okay.
it was from someone who is wondering, Joe, talking about their getting ready to have their first MMA fight. Is there any advice that you could tell them, especially when it comes to their first ever MMA fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with it being an amateur fight, it's about having fun. You know, it's kind of silly to say, but like don't take it too seriously. Like this is a time for you. This is practice. This is a time for you to have fun. This is a time for you to try out all the things you've been working so hard on at the gym. Keep it lighthearted if you can. I always try to, when I'm in the back warming up or waiting, because you're gonna wait forever. I always like to watch a funny movie, or maybe I'll play a card game with someone. It's just another day in the office. It's just like sparring at your gym. There's just a little crowd and you get to go a little harder than usual. So have fun with it.
Absolutely. And by the way, you do have a comment from Trey, who pretty much I do with the Jay and Trey podcast. He says, "Hey, Tisha, how are you?"
Hey Trey, I'm doing great. Thanks for checking in and watching us and following us. I appreciate it.
I definitely do appreciate that. And you guys can check it out on the TSC Sports Talk, the Jay and Trey podcast. And I really feel like, Joe, you learned a lot since your first ever MMA fight. You gone from MMA to pro. I mean, Joe, before you got just a fight, I mean, how did this pro fight happen?
Yeah, so the pro fight, it's something after I had fought a couple times in MMA and I had some amateur kickboxing fights, the idea of going pro was in my head probably about 2 or 3 years ago. It's something that was kind of, okay, I think I need to make the next step soon. I think I need to make the next step soon. Like, it's time, it's time. And it kind of got put off, kind of got put off. And then, okay, just one more amateur fight, just one more amateur fight. And then finally this year, it was like, I you just know when it's time. My coaches agreed, it's time. You need to make that next step. My family, my friends, my boyfriend, my teammates, they're like, it's time for you to finally go pro. It's something I've been talking about for 2 or 3 years, and it happened. Like you said, it always felt like a dream, and here I am. So
Yeah. And not only that, but yet I've got a chance to be able to check out some of the fighting shots from that fight, and the fact that you got a chance to get your first ever pro win. I mean, let me. I gotta ask you this. I gotta call you out on this. But
okay.
how pumped up were you to be able to get your hand raised, your first ever pro fight, and then you got a chance to get your first ever win?
Okay, listen, and I was in I won't call it my hometown, but it's like 20 minutes from my hometown. So I had my family there, my friends were there, my teammates were there, my sponsors were there. The place was packed. My teammates supporters were there cheering me on. I was so stoked. Literally before I knew I won when the fight ended. And normally you shouldn't go trotting around on your horse before anything's announced, but like it was a win. I was going crazy. I was jumping on the ropes. I was hyping the crowd up. It was like I was going crazy. It was awesome. It was fantastic. It was the greatest feeling ever.
And I can already assume that that's a memory that you're going to live on for the rest of your life, to say the least, especially with how much that you have learned. And plus, you got a chance to win. And what was it like your hometown, your home crowd, and talking about your supported system. How much has all of the support mean to you when it comes to your boyfriend, your family, your friends? I mean, everyone that is in your inner circle.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And when the real ones are there for you. My dad, my uncle, my mom, they've been there since my first MMA fight through all of those losses. I kept losing, they kept showing up, they kept buying tickets, they kept coming to watch. And honestly, at one point they were probably like, I know she's gonna lose, but they still showed up. They've been there, and now with this pro win, honestly, I think it was bigger for them than it was for me. It's just like finally she made it. She got what she deserved, and my boyfriend through the whole process has been fantastic. He's been nothing but supportive. He's been in my corner now for most of my fights, and it's nice having him there. I'm not stressed. It's a relief, and he's been supportive through my camps. It's camps are rough. You pretty much miss out on everything. So I can't thank him enough, and I can't thank the supporters enough for following me through all those losses.
I think you definitely have an amazing support system. I mean, if people got a chance to follow you, you know how much support you get from your friends, from your training, from whatever it may be. And of course, shout out to your friends and family because I know how much they meant to you, and I
Hmm.
think that they're proud of from where you just started to where you are now. I mean, it's like what Drake said, started from the bottom and now you're here.
Literally, yeah, yeah, exactly. And I know they're proud of me too. And it's just, now it's a matter of, I can't get as crappy as it sounds, I can't get hung up in like this last win. Like I need to refocus and I need to keep working harder than I was to make sure I keep this train rolling. Like I want to keep making people proud. I want people to follow me for a reason, not just because, because I'm a girl fighting. I want them to follow me because I work hard and I come out and I put on a show.
Yeah, and I think it definitely suits that because people don't only not only just see you more as just a fighter because of how much training you put, of how much effort you put, and not only that, but outside of the ropes, outside of the cage, you show what a person that you are today. And I think people can be really proud of what you're doing. People can be really admiring you, to say the least. And what, talking about what's next, and that is April 23rd. I think you just said.
Yes.
You got your second pro fight. I know you are pumped up for it. I know you're ready for it. What's going to be the game plan for the second fight?
Yeah, I'm really excited. So we get to have it once again in Harrisburg at the Zembo Shrine, April 23rd. It's a Saturday. My teammates will be on the card as well. The twin brothers and their younger brother will be on the card as well. Um, it's going to be great. We packed the place last time. I hope to pack the place again. Uh, I think the girl I'm fighting, I don't think she'll pull out. We've had trouble with opponents before. It's hard as a female to find, opponents, but I'm pretty sure I'm matched with someone. It's going to be her pro debut. She's game. I'm game. It should be a really fun fight.
And if you guys are in the Pennsylvania area, I encourage you guys to go check it out. And even for those who are like maybe like a state below or something like that, go check it out. If you want to get a chance to watch some exciting fighting, this is your opportunity and this is your chance. And the one thing I gotta ask is. What is the one thing you want people to see you not only as a fighter but also as a person?
I mean, I just want them to see me as, like someone that never gave up, like the person that never gave up, regardless of the stuff that you've been through. My life hasn't been terrible. I've been through some rough spots. There's people who have it much worse, but I want those people to see that with adversity, like if you just keep going, if you just keep moving forward, one baby step at a time, it does get better. Things start to look up for you. You just have to keep going. I just want to be an inspiration for people to see that.
And once again, I'll go ahead and post this up again, but just remember exactly who you are today and what you are because, for those who fight the depression, for those who fight, the mental state, whatever it may be, whatever addiction you're on, come to jiu-jitsu, come to boxing, come to MMA because really and truly, if you're not feeling loved by your actual family, there's plenty of people that will treat you like family. There's plenty of people that will help you because they understand what you've been through. They understand what you've gone through, to say the least. And I feel like, when it comes to the gyms that you currently train at, you welcome in anyone, you help anyone, and I think that's really awesome with what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't been, and I do a lot of cross training, whether it's MMA, kickboxing, boxing, jujitsu. I haven't been to one martial arts gym that hasn't been accepting of anyone that stepped through the door. I mean, it's just like you walk in and you've never met the people before, and they just treat you like family. So it's amazing. I encourage anyone, even if they just want to do it as a hobby to get in shape, just something to pass time. Try out jujitsu, try out kickboxing, try out boxing. Do something. Get into this environment. It's a very healthy environment.
I think people will definitely get a chance to be a part of this, and I hope for those who, like I mentioned, struggle will understand that hey, you have people that are welcoming you in like open arms. Hey, come join us, come train,
Hmm.
come get a chance to be a part of something that can help you, especially on the long run. I mean, you mentioned before the amount of times you thought about quitting, you never quit. You may have been knocked down, but you still got back up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and some things in life you have to do that. I didn't have to do that in fighting. I chose to. I'm glad I chose to. I think a lot of people choose to not continue things and then end up regretting it. So, it might suck at the time, but I think the better choice is to just stick with it, keep going, and eventually you'll see the right side of it.
And there's something I really want to tell you that I hope how much you mean to all of us when it comes to MMA community, media, whatever you do, is that you are and a tremendous fighter with a lot of heart, and you do so many incredible things. You lift one another. You always do your best in your ability to go out there and fight. And people will definitely need to get a chance to realize that and get a chance to follow you because whenever we first met, I shared a couple of your posts to get a chance to
Hmm.
show how amazing the fighter you are. And we didn't really talk, but I'm like, I already know that there's something very special about her. I already know that there's something very special, there's something incredible, and there's something awesome about you. So once again, I encourage you guys to get a chance to follow her on Instagram. And I will tell you this, and just because you're my friend, and I'm gonna tell you, I am very, very proud of you. I am very, very proud of you, of the stories and everything you have accomplished to get you where you are. You are inspiring others. You are a warrior, and you are an incredible human being.
Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot. I worked really hard to get here, and thank you to everyone who's been following me or anyone new that wants to follow me. The support is appreciated. It's overwhelming, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, is there any final comments you want to say before we hop off the air?
I would like to say if anyone is interested, of course, please give me a follow. I also do have my own merchandise available through MMAT Company. The link is in my Instagram bio. I have t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank top stickers, things like that. And there's tons of other fighters on that website if you want to go support, a different fighter that's maybe more local to you. It's a great way to support local fighters and to get our name out there for us.
And not only that, but it's also an amazing way to be able to connect with lateesha, especially with what you're doing. So I mean, she's incredible, and of course, check out her merchandise link. I'll definitely have to get me some merchandise later on for sure once I get paid, and to show you my support. lateesha, it has been so incredible. It's been such an honor. I'm not worthy to get to have you on here.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna get a chance to pull that dork moment like I told you the other day. but
That's right.
I definitely do appreciate you. And once when I get done, I will send you this link in case you want to get a chance to share it to your social media pages for people to get a chance to know how awesome this interview was. Because I had a great time, and I hope you did too.
I did too. Thanks so much for having me. Definitely give me the link. Thank you.
No problem. You be careful.
All right. You too. See ya.
See ya. And that was lateesha. Before we get a chance to hop off the air, let's go ahead and do our one final advertisement. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it here today at the StreamYard Studios. We got done with 2 back-to-back interviews, but yet don't forget, coming up tonight at 10 o'clock, we have the Jay and Dre podcast. It is going to be incredible. It's going to be fun. I cannot wait. Hopefully, we don't have another jelly bean moment like we had last night. But either way, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything Fighting Now wise. Follow me on Instagram at the Fighting Now. But until then, until tomorrow, we can just have Lisa Solar is going to be joining me at 6 o'clock Eastern time. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow.